Folks, and welcome to the Hot Sector Report for June 10th through June 16th. What we're going to discuss today is some topping patterns we're seeing in the market. We all know we had a pullback last week, which was pretty dramatic, except for the rally on Friday. However, we'd like to point out a few short signals we're getting on some big-time stocks. So in this Hot Sector Report, we're going to look at some major stocks, some of the big large caps that look to be too far extended off their moving averages, as well as giving us negative divergences. And these look to be setting up for a short sell in the near future. There's topping in many ways, and we think that in the near future we should see a good short position taken on these for a drop down. The first chart we have up is Apple's chart. And we all know the run Apple's been on, and this is the daily chart pattern here. You can see this dramatic rise, basically from $90, $85, $90 back here in March, all the way up to almost $130 here. And what you're seeing here, right here, is a topping pattern possibly forming. In addition, what we're seeing here is also a negative divergence on the RSI. The RSI is way overbought here, as you can see from that purple area. But in addition, we're also seeing a negative divergence here, which is causing a negative divergence from the price moving up and these moving down. And that's what you're looking for in a negative divergence. So you're seeing that pattern forming, which is a dead signal to us that Apple is getting too overbought at this point and is due for a fall. Because always this chart pattern, it could go up to 130, we're thinking, but in the near future, what you're going to see is this angle will coincide with an angle here soon, and it should get, basically you're looking for this move to catch up here, coming soon. What you're also seeing here is a move up in volume, and volume is signifying, a lot of people say, well, high volume is great to see in a stock, but you also have to realize that high volume can also signal a top because the big guys, the guys with thousands, millions of shares, are unloading to the public here, and that's what's causing this topping pattern right here in the market. So an incline in volume can signal a short pattern, a short position, possibly setting up for us to take in the near future. What you're also seeing right here is it's too far extended here. We're way up too high in the MACD here on these little lines. In addition, what we're also seeing is a negative divergence right here. Alright, you're seeing again a slope down, not a dramatic slope down here, but for a chart moving this dramatically up, this over here, this MACD should be up here. It should be higher than this point right here. Alright, let's also look at the stochastics. The stochastics are way over 80. In fact, they're at 92 right here. And what you're also seeing is a slight negative divergence here. So not only are the stochastics overbought, but they're forming a negative divergence, folks. And this is a big signal here. You're looking for Apple to maybe touch out at 130 if we rally early in the week based off the hard sell last week. We think we'll have an update on Monday, or at least initially an update, maybe reversing later in the afternoon. Depending, and this is going to depend a lot on yields. Again, yields are what we called at 460 back about a month ago, and we called it perfectly. We said a move up to 5 on the 10-year yield, and we did get that. We got as high as 5.25, which caused the market sell-off. This was predicted by us a long time ago, as we have predicted many moves, whether it's in oil, gold, or the US dollar. So what again we're seeing is we're seeing a topping pattern in Apple, and we're going to bring up the next chart, which is going to be the weekly. Alright, the weekly is even more significant on Apple. Now here's the weekly. On the weekly, our proprietary signal, which is a signal we've come up with that's a dead-on signal, has been pierced. When this line gets pierced, our proprietary signal, is almost a dead short. You might get one more push up and then a drop, alright? And we're looking for a drop all the way back under 120. So it should be a dramatic drop coming. And again, you're seeing overbought on the weekly RSI. Positive divergence at least, but still way overbought. This has to correct, alright? In addition, we're also looking at a flat stow here. And at least we have a positive divergence here. But again, once this signal's pierced, it's a dead short. Alright, so again, we're not taking a position here yet, but we're watching for an entry. Keep close eye on it. Also, keep in mind, connect this line to here, and you have a trend line. We should come down and hit that trend line. In addition, that trend line basically is right at the 20, which is right here, this white line right here. The stock price should come down to meet that, and we're guessing that's going to be between 120 and 110 when it falls. Alright, so watch that closely on Apple. We might even break 110. It's very possible. Alright, folks. On the next chart we're going to look at is Amazon. Amazon's had a dramatic run. A run like I have not seen an internet stock have since 2000. And that's a little worrisome, to be frank. What you're seeing here is you saw the gap up, and you saw a base, a gap up, base, gap up, alright? And what, again, you're seeing is a topping pattern forming here. In addition, you're seeing, again, negative divergences on the RSI. That's a big overbought signal right here, in addition to negative divergence, when the chart's not angled this way, is telling us that we will soon see a correction in Amazon. And again, we're looking for it to come down to possibly the 20 moving average, if not breaking the 20 and coming all the way down to 57.5 here, right? So we're going to watch for that, all right? In addition, look at these negative divergences on the MACD and on the STO. This is a dead signal, guys. Again, we could bounce Monday, so we think we might have a push up in Amazon, maybe to the 74 level, 75 level. But at that point, we're looking at a topping out pattern, folks, and this should reverse down and come back in significantly. So let's look at the weekly on Amazon as well. And the weekly's also getting pierced on our proprietary signal. All right, so again, when this pierces, it's a dead signal. Look at this RSI, how overbought this is. This is a huge overbought signal. In addition, look at the overbought MACD. And the STOs are even flipping down here. So on the weekly, look at this extension move. Look at how far away it is from the 20. Here's the 20 on the weekly, which is just under 50. We're 50% higher than that, folks. And you have to correct, and you have to, think of the 20 moving average as a magnet, all right? But the magnet gets stronger the farther you get away, all right? It always tries to pull you back. I think the best way to look at it is like a bungee cord or a rubber band, all right? At first, stretching out a rubber band, when you're not taught, when it's not taught, it's very easy to stretch. But as you get more and more, it begins to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And eventually, it snaps, and it goes right back together, all right, folks? So that's what we're looking for, and that's how the 20 basically acts. So keep that in mind, and look for a move down in Amazon. We're looking for a move maybe up to 75 again, and then a move back down to probably around 65 to 70. So you can have a nice correction here in Amazon. And the 20 will continue to move up as the chart will come in, and they'll meet together, and that'll be support at the 20. All right, folks? The last stock we're going to look at here on the hot sector report as a possible short is Google. Look at the piercing of our proprietary sell signal on the daily in Google. Look at the overbought nature of the chart right here on the RSI. In addition, you have a very toppy MACD and a possibly topping pattern here in the Stochastics. Again, you're so far off the 20 at this point. Look at this move up just in the daily. And again, this red candle here is a very bearish pattern. If we can't get above that line, we're going to push down. Now, of all the stocks we're looking at here, I like Google as a possible more move up than the other ones. And what do I mean by that? Well, what we're going to see here is we're going to see there's no negative here. Remember, on the dailies of the prior two stocks, we saw negative divergences on the RSI. Google's overbought, but it's not yet negative. We haven't seen a lower here and move up, a lower, 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 down. All right? So what we're still looking at is, yes, it pierced for a near-term pullback, but we could see this turn back up. In addition, what you're seeing is a possible M pattern forming here, all right? M, and then you see a drop down here. So what we are looking for is possible move up still in Google to maybe 530, maybe somewhere in that realm, all right? I'd like to see another pierce of our proprietary sell signal. We already pierced it and dropped off. I'd like to see one more pierce as a topping pattern, maybe up to here, 530, 535, and then a short signal, all right, guys? Google's been extremely strong lately, so we're not saying that we want to go short in Google by any stretch of the imagination. It's not till we see more negative divergences. Now let's look at the weekly on Google. The weekly is actually showing us some possible topping patterns. And what do we mean by that? Well, the RSI is a negative divergence here. However, we're not in the overbought area. So again, this is why I was saying, or we were saying, that we possibly think that this could have one more move up. In addition, we're triple topping here, but keep in mind, it looks like it might want to break through. This is a strong pattern up. Alright, a possible W pattern on the weekly. So we could have a small pullback and then another push higher on Google's chart. In addition, you have a line right here. This is a new trend line that we've drawn in on this chart. If this breaks, if this closes below this line, we could have a drastic sell-off in Google. So watch for that, alright? However, again, we think we'll pull back and then shoot one more time higher to break this triple top, go higher, and then we'll have a pull-in. In addition, the weekly is showing negative divergences here on the STO, so we do think that pullback's coming, yet we still think we could have one more move up, alright, on the weekly. Alright, so keep that in mind. We might have one more push up in Google, but again, these stocks, these internet stocks especially, and Apple I'm including there because of the Mac and the iPhone and all this junk coming out. I believe that the iPhone is going to be the hype is way more. You know, the bark is much bigger than its bite. So keep that in mind, alright? In addition, what we're going to look for here is not only a push higher, but again, one more drop down, and then a possible sell. And this should coincide with the markets, alright? Granted, these stocks that I've been pointing out have been the leaders, and part of the reason we're looking for a pullback in is because we expect one in the market. We've already started it last week. We think we'll have another push higher and then a pullback in the markets. So stay tuned, folks. keep an eye on these three stocks, alright? Again, follow this closely. We think we're going to have this pullback, and we'll see what happens. But hope you've enjoyed the hot sector report. Keep an eye on these charting patterns and how they're developing over the next week, month, and 6-month periods. But we do think all three of these stocks will be in for a pullback at some time in the near, not too distant future. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.